Hello, my friends. I'm Michael Hunn, the Episcopal Bishop of the Diocese of the Rio Grande, which encompasses the entire state of New Mexico and the far west part of Texas. I want to say hello to those of you who have discovered this conversation over the last week or so. Gosh, there's a few more of us having the conversation. And so today, I thought I wanted to follow up having a conversation about the nature of Christian leadership. And I want to distinguish that there are lots of different kinds of leadership in the world. I'm not an expert on all of them. I'm not a politician. What I am is a bishop. This is my wheelhouse. I can talk about Christian leadership because that is what I have given my life to. Not just Christian leadership, but Christian discipleship, following Jesus Christ as and his teachings, putting them into practice in my life, and trying to share the good news of what that all means. The foundational bedrock of Christian leadership, those who follow the way of Jesus Christ, is to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. And first among those teachings is often summed up in what we call the golden rule, which is, I know you've heard it, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. This principle, love your neighbor as you love yourself, this idea that we should treat others the way we would want to be treated, is pretty foundational to the basis of the Christian life and to what Christian leaders should be. So the first piece is Christian leaders follow the teachings of Jesus. The second principle is that Christian leaders themselves embody what they are teaching. And so you see it all through the Pauline epistles. You see Jesus exhorting the disciples to walk the talk. And so Christian leaders follow the teachings of Jesus, number one. Number two, they try to embody that in their own lives. And so I just want to give a practical example about one good test to see if we are loving our neighbor as ourselves, one good way to see if I am treating others in a way that I would like to be treated. And it's a simple test. You can do it on anything you're about to do. The idea is this: if everyone did what you're about to do, would you like to live in that world? So I'll give you a practical example. Let's say you're at somebody's house for dinner. We're sitting around the table together. Maybe it's 10 of us, maybe it's 3 of us, but sitting around that dinner table, whenever we talked about anybody, all of the people around that table said, hey, be merciful to that person, be kind to them. If their haircut came up, or if their shoes, or if they weren't wearing the right kind of clothes, or that you disagreed with their ideas, if everyone around that table encountering that said, you know what, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, let's treat them with some kindness and humility, let's treat them with mercy, would you want to be at that dinner table? Would you stay in that house? I would. That's the kind of place I'd like to be, because I'm aware of my own shortcomings, my own blind spots. I'm aware that there are times when I need mercy, and I would like to be more of a person who extends mercy to others. Now, let's be at somebody else's house for dinner. And at this house, maybe there's 10 of us, maybe there's 3 of us, but we are sitting around the dinner table. And in this house, whenever somebody's haircut came up or their kind of clothes, everyone around that table competed to find out what's the most cutting, kind of nasty thing they could say about that individual. And everybody kind of piled on to that. Would you like to stay at that dinner? I wouldn't. I really would not like to stay at that dinner table or in that house, partly because my shoes are not always right. My haircut's not that great. And there are worse things, right? And I would not like to be attacked myself. I'd find a way to excuse myself, because I wouldn't want to be a part of that kind of a crowd. So, my friends, if we're looking at Christian leadership and we're looking for what does it mean to be a Christian leader, I, as a bishop of the Episcopal Church, am looking for somebody who, number one, practices following the teachings of Jesus themselves by being kind to others. One of Jesus' famous things is, I came not to be served, but to serve others. So in a Christian leader, I'm looking for a servant's heart, someone who is caring for others, who is in leadership to care for others, not to be in it for themselves. I'm looking for somebody who walks the talk, which is to say that they are behaving towards others as they would like to be treated themselves. That's what Christian leadership is about. Now, I know that there's lots of different kinds of leadership out there, and I'm not saying anything about this political party or that political party. I'm not a politician. I'm a Christian leader. I'm a bishop of the Episcopal Church. My lane, my zone is to talk to you honestly and faithfully about what the teachings of Jesus invite us to do and how the teachings of Jesus invite us to act. So I understand that there's lots of different kinds of leadership out there, and you may be a fan of this political leadership style or that political leadership style. That's fine. But if it's not Christian, don't call it Christian. If it's about hatred and judging people, don't call it Christian. I'm looking for Christian leadership that follows the teachings of Jesus Christ, who said that we should love our neighbor and we should even love our enemies. Now, here's another critical point about Christian leadership, and it is that inside each of us, there is this tendency, right? Inside of me, part of me does kind of want to say the most cutting thing and pile on. Part of me does have that little nastiness in me, right? And part of me knows that the better way to go is kindness and mercy. So the Christian path is not just for Christian leaders. It's not just an accountable standard we try to hold them to. It is rather a struggling that happens in each one of our own hearts. And it's a struggling which happens in each of our own hearts every day. Today, we will all have multiple opportunities to be harsh, to be critical, to kind of goad other people or call them names. We can choose to walk that pathway. And the more we do that, the more we invite a kind of hatred and meanness into our hearts. And it's like the Grinch that stole Christmas. Your heart just gets smaller and smaller as we fill our time and our hearts with kind of criticism of others. If, on the other hand, we follow the teachings of Jesus and we treat others the way we would like to be treated, I would not like to be criticized and name called myself, so I'm not going to do that to you. The more we do that, then our heart does swell and grow, and we find that there is common ground. This is my hope for our country and for our Episcopal Church, that people who are on different sides of the political spectrum might actually listen to one another, develop some kind of common ground, and develop some kind of compassion and mutual understanding so that we could work together to help solve the problems of the world. Now, that's me as a Christian leader speaking about my hope for the world. I'm not a politician. I'm not running for office, but I am saying I hope that the Christian faith and this love your neighbor thing applies beyond the doors of the church. And I hope and I know that it can be transformative if we are able to listen to one another with compassion, to give each other the benefit of the doubt, to actually sit down and listen to each other. But the rules around the table need to be not, we're going to find the biggest rock to throw at each other. It needs to be instead, we're going to listen with mercy, seeking common ground, trying to find a way for us to stand together instead of finding a way to rip each other apart. And I think part of what's happening now in this moment in our nation is that our political system is so focused on competition and winning. Our political system is so focused on, I'm going to win at all costs. And we know that brutality is acceptable stuff in politics. That's how you win, right? You dominate and control the other person. But so that whole idea is counter to what we're trying to do in the church. What we're trying to do, particularly in the Episcopal Church, is actually listen to one another, not call each other names, not throw rocks, but to find a place where we can sit together at a table, being made one, where our differences are actually part of the feature, not the bug in the system, where our differences are to be appreciated and understood, not to be minimized or whitewashed over. I want to be a part of a church not where everybody thinks exactly what I think. I want to be a part of a church where I am learning and growing because you are teaching me and you are showing me, even holding the mirror up to my own behavior in a way that I can't quite see all the time. I just ask that you do that with compassion and mercy because I'm aware that I fall short. So, when it comes to Christian leaders, what we're looking for is people who are leading in such a way that they are serving others. They are leading in such a way that they are walking the talk. They're leading in such a way that they are nurturing beloved community, trying to help bring us together instead of trying to find ways to rip us apart. You know, in this conversation, I've had some people talk a lot about forgiveness. And so in the next video, I'd like to talk a little bit about forgiveness and what that really means in the Christian tradition. I hope you'll stick around.